So
It's live.
Hi, everybody.
awesome. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome. So,
Hi, Rose. Hi, Kat.
hi,
Hey,
Nat.
girls.
Hi, Rishi. So, welcome. Thank you for joining us for another week. We are super excited to be here because we have some extra special, exciting guests this week that we're talking about so many different things. So, first, let me start with an introduction. I am Kathy Goodall. I am co-founder of Redefine Business Services and also co-founder of Ready to Emerge Limited. And yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. Welcome.
Okay, and I'm Naomi Garrick. I'm the founder of Garrick Communications, and I'm also a personal branding coach known as the PR Chick. And I help individuals to get clarity on who they are, understand their unique value so that they can stand out in a noisy world and communicate to their ideal audience. I'm also a co-founder of Emerge. Rochelle, stop looking at me like that. I know my personal brand
We
pitch.
will have our elevator pitch for this.
I'm like, what a thing if I never did found anything. Lord have mercy. So my name is Rochelle Cameron. I come from a little district in St. Mary called Lucky Hill. And having emerged from Lucky Hill, I'm founder of Prescient Consulting Services Limited.
Woo!
I'm an international speaker. I have taken a plane to go and speak.
That's right.
And I'm an attorney at law most days of the week. But best of all, I get to be co-founder with these two ladies of Ready to Emerge.
Yay.
Awesome.
So we have some special guests with us today, and like I said, we have an action-packed evening. We have Marsha Burrell-Rose, Mrs. Marsha Burrell-Rose, because
Hi,
people
Marsha.
forget that she named Rose too. So I need to reiterate because that is her better half. She is the development and marketing manager at Food for the Poor, and we thought it was extremely important to invite Food for the Poor to speak with us today because um, our first week, our word was kindness, and last week, our word was gratitude. And Food for the Poor embodies both of those things. And so, when we were thinking about what are the things that are important during this COVID period, we knew that we needed to talk about giving back and not only talk about it, but help people to understand where the outlets are, what the needs are, what the necessities are. And Food for the Poor is just one avenue, but because they are a bridge for so many, we thought it was the perfect place to start. And there is nobody more passionate and that has a heart for people more than Burrell-Rose. So, um, welcome, Marsha.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for having me.
So we also have with us Mrs. Renee Rattray. Now, I don't know if anybody read my post, but I said I was hoping she's going to break out in song tonight, and I'm still hoping for that. I'm praying for that, but that's not why she's coming to us today. She is, and well, I don't know if Russia wants to talk about Renee.
You're doing a good job, darling.
Okay, so Renee is an educator and she is the CEO of Teach Good, Lead Good. So Renee is going to talk to us about homeschooling from all angles. She's going to talk to us about homeschooling as an educator, being a principal and a teacher in her former life, as an entrepreneur because she's the CEO of her own business, and as a parent because she has. I'll let her tell you about her children. 'Cause she has twins, right? Yeah, so she can school us on all different angles of homeschooling. So please welcome Mrs. Renee Rattray.
Hi guys, thank you for having me. The parent part is the one part I don't think I'm the best at. There's no manual for that, right? So
And then we have two extra special women that are joining us from NCB Capital Markets because you know that money is something that we are always talking about at Emerge. And last week we had an extremely informative conversation with um, Robert and Sansia. And that has left many of us with questions in so many other different areas. And so we want to welcome Cleopatra Behari from NCB Capital Markets.
Thank you.
And
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
And Valerie's coming to us all the way from St. Thomas, right, Valerie? I can't. Oh, your mic is muted.
Your mic is muted, Valerie.
My apologies. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, ladies, we're going to have a little chat with Marsha first, and then we're going to bring you guys back. So,
Sure.
Okay.
So, Miss Marsha, well, where do we begin? So, I think we want to start with you telling us a little bit about Food for the Poor and what Food for the Poor does. For those of us that don't know, because everybody thinks that Food for the Poor just builds houses.
Well, thank you again for having me. And boy, you said it. Where do you start? I mean, I probably take up the whole segment, believe me. But, you know, we're here and we have been around for over 36 years serving the poor. And we have just been trying to be there for our brothers, you know, like be our brothers' keepers. And we have the ministries just like the government. You know, we have healthcare, we have schools, we have housing, prison ministry, agriculture, fishing, you name it. Every aspect of the society can think of Food for the Poor is involved in. And, you know, other persons, when they come to the office and they see what we do and they walk the warehouse and we give them a history, they go like, I never know Food for the Poor do all of this. I thought it was only food alone. And, you know, I'm so happy that you're giving us this platform to be able to tell persons who we are and what we're about and the need that, you know, that is there and how much we need persons to partner with us, because we, as you know, the situation right now, we don't even see the half of it yet, but we have been around, like I said, for 30 odd years and we're in 17 countries, you know, started here in Jamaica and we move our head office to Florida. And it has just been a journey. I've been there 6 years and my husband tells me every day, I have not worked a day since I've started at Food for the Poor, because at Food for the Poor, you don't work, it's purpose. You're selected to work there by God. I believe it, because you have to have a certain heart. You have to have a certain understanding to be able to work at Food for the Poor. You have to have a certain love, a certain amount of love and compassion to be able to work at Food for the Poor.
100%, I agree, and we know that you embody it. Anybody that knows you knows that. So, what are some of the initiatives that Food for the Poor has undertaken during this COVID period?
Well, what we have been doing mostly is that we have been partnering with a lot of the corporate companies to see how best we can reach out to, you know, the persons who are in dire need. Because, as you know, the situation, we don't even see anything yet. And so what we've been doing, we've been reaching out to corporate for donations, one partnership in the sense of how can we get our packages out there, because we have our distribution centers all over Jamaica, and that's the avenue that we're using right now, but that's not enough. So we have been doing a lot of packaging where corporate will come and say, okay, they want us to help them with their, you know, getting food items out, and we will source the item and get it out there for them. That's one aspect in partnership. When you donate to us, it goes straight towards purchasing items and medicines that is needed, you know, all the medical items that is available right now. That's what we've been doing. We have just been trying to how best our head office in Florida is trying to source as much as possible. You know, our containers are coming in, and as they come in, the food is going out. We have so many persons that are calling, you know, how can we help them? So it's really about the initiative that we've been working on is really partnership and how we can get mostly the food to these persons, because before this started, we have been supplying food, medicine, you name it, healthcare, agriculture products, you name it, everything you can think of, furniture, computers, clothing. We have been doing that before this through our distribution centers. And so now it is just times 100, times 1,000. And the need is so great right now. And I tell persons, you don't see the half of it yet. And we are very critical to Jamaica at this point. So I encourage persons to partner with us.
So I actually think that people don't understand how critical you are to Jamaica generally, because it's not just at this point. I think that our educational system, our healthcare system, people don't understand how much Food for the Poor subsidizes what already exists. And if Food for the Poor didn't exist, a lot of our infrastructure would not exist. Our schools, our clinics wouldn't have any supplies, our hospitals wouldn't have any supplies, hospital beds, wheelchairs. And I think it's important for people to understand that when they give to Food for the Poor, they're giving to something specific. So if you want the money allocated to food packages, then the money will be allocated to food packages. If you want
Definitely.
medication, it will be delivered. It will be allocated specifically to medication.
And that's what we do on our website. When you go on our website, foodforthepoorja.org, you actually have the different ministry that you can put your money towards. If you want to do food, if you want to do healthcare, whatever it is. But for this season right now, we're really focusing on the virus. So you will see COVID-19 that is critical, which encounters everything.
So tell us the website that people can go to and how they donate. And
Okay, so it's Food for the Poor, foodforthepoorja.org. And we have our NCB account that you can donate, and it's 471-04-3885. That's 471-04-3885. And it's an NCB account. And you know, Catherine know me. Catherine know that I get very emotional. And when you work at Food for the Poor, you see a different Jamaica. I tell persons that. But when you're at Food for the Poor now with this virus, you see I man the social media and website. When I see the emails and the messages coming in every day, today I've received over 30 odd messages asking me, how can we get food? Where can we get food? The situation is critical, and everyone has to realize that it is our responsibility to help our neighbors. And I'm talking about, don't think that because you have your money in your bank account and everything is said. It is important that we join forces right now. Food for the Poor can do it for you. We are equipped for, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have all the system ready, oiled and ready to hit the ground. We have a team. We go out and distribute also. So we just need persons to come on board and help us so that we can help those who are in need, because the need is great.
Absolutely. So there are so many initiatives now that we can support, and it's not just about donating to food. Our local farmers right now don't have an outlet to sell their produce because hotels was their largest customer before. And so now we realize that there's a lot of produce. I mean, different farmers have different initiatives with RADA, with other people that they're trying to sell their produce to different places. So we can also use Food for the Poor as an outlet to buy directly from
Definitely.
farmers. What about the elderly? What about, supplies for them? Because I know that Food for the Poor does diapers and all kind of other things.
Right. So what we're doing is that we still have our 34 distribution centers, which, those are the main centers, and those centers have sub-centers. So we try to get out as much as possible to these centers. And also we help Ministry of Labor, we help the government, we help everybody that is in need that we have, whatever we have, and we put it through to those areas that are quarantined. We try to get our food items out there, you name it. We try to do our best. Once we have it, it doesn't sit in our warehouse. As it come in, it's out. Our team is working 24/7, doing the packaging, everything. And our care package is really nice, and it serves a family for like 2 to 3 weeks. And it sustained them. And if whether you're corporate, whether you're a family, and you feel like you just want to donate and you want to help 10 families within your community, call us. I have a number. Can I tell my number? My number is 876-486-3002. Call me. Me ready.
So what about people that can't afford to give money now? Can they give up their time? How can they give back?
Well, the time aspect of it in terms of volunteering is very tricky right now because of what's happening. So, we wouldn't say that we're going to, we are open to volunteer. But what we would do is that, if you can help get the word out in terms of who we are and what we're doing, if you can use your website, your social media platform to speak about us and to get persons to get involved with the different programs that we have at Food for the Poor. That is what is important. So if you want to volunteer your time on social media and help get the message out there.
Absolutely. So I want you to tell us again what the website is for Food for the Poor.
Sure. It's foodforthepoorja.org. Foodforthepoorja.org. We have an NCB account, which is 471-043885. 471-043885. We also have a PayPal account on there. And, my number, call me, 876-486-3002. Let's talk. Whether you're corporate, whether you're non-corporate, whether you're just a family member that have a $2,000, call me. We can make it work. We're ready.
Any other parting words? Because, at the end of the day, what is very important to us is for people to help out each other. Like you said, this is a time when we have to bind together, when collaboration is critical. So any parting words for us?
Boy, I was hoping that you just let me just come off right away. Let me tell you, the need is great. And when you see the persons that are sending us our messages, there are persons like 60, 70 years of age that don't have kids and they're by themselves and they need help. How do we get to them? And we can't do it alone. We just definitely can't do it alone. And we're asking you, please, to join us. Be the change. Let us go out there and do it for you. And we need the support everywhere, everyone. Let's join together and do this together.
Thank you so much, Marsha. I want you to just know that Fiona said that she knows several elderly people that have received care packages, and she says thank you so much, Marsha.
God bless you, and thank you so much for having me. And all right, let me hurry up and come on before I start crying. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Marsha.
Thank you, Marsha. Thank you for your passion. Thank you.
Bye.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, but your work, if your work is your passion, it really isn't work. You could feel that Marsha feels what she does. She loves what she does, and she sees the end game in what she does. And we'll be putting up all of the information for Food for the Poor. This is a great outlet for us to give back, and a lot of personal time. And if you haven't been wondering, now is a great time to wonder how you can give back. So Food for the Poor is one way to give back. We can give up our time. Many of us know elderly persons who are unable to go on the road, and we can go and help them. We can drop off groceries for them. We can do their run up and down for them. Not too much running because we're supposed to turn our yard, but also giving up our time, because there are lots of persons who what they really need to right now is just somebody to reach out and check on them. Absolutely. Today when I was in the supermarket and the shelves, a lot of them were rather empty. And as I stood in there with the trolley, I thought to myself, what a blessing it is that I can be in here able to pick up things. There are lots of persons who they can't pick up anything. There are lots of people who buy from meal to meal. A pound of flour, half pound of flour, a tin of mackerel. And a lot of us have things in our pantries, in our cupboards just there that we are able to share with others. And let me tell you, see, when you share, the Lord has a way of returning it tenfold to you and to your children. And the feeling that you get from it is amazing. So this is really a time of community where as Jamaicans, we really come together to share.
And I know that I can say this on behalf of Emerge without even consulting with Kathleen and Rochelle, that we will definitely be making our own donation on behalf of Emerge to Food for the Poor to help with these efforts as well.
Yes. So this is Catherine, your mic is low, or is only I get old?
Everybody keeps saying that.
Yes, I've been getting actual messages on WhatsApp about that as well.
Is it better now?
A little, not quite, but
I don't know. The mic is plugged in, so I don't really know what the problem is.
But while Kathy fixes up herself, we have started with Giveback today, and we're also going to be speaking with Renee Rattray, and we're going to be speaking with our NCB specialists. Renee Rattray is one of my favorite people on the planet. Hi, Ren.
You know this.
So Renee is an educator. She is a former principal of St. Andrew Preparatory. Yeah, she does look like 12, but she has actually been a principal. She has also been a director of Jamaica National Foundation, and now she is CEO of Teach Good, Lead Good, which is Renee walking and serving in her passion. She's also one of those people, you know, we always talk about with Emerge that you're a multiplicity of talents. So not only is she a great speaker, a great leader, a great educator, but she can sing.
Lordy. But that's why we're here.
We have to say it. And her name is actually Dr. the Honorable Renee, welcome to Emerge. Thank you for joining us today. Can we just start with just tell our audience a little bit about Teach Good, Lead Good? What an amazing name. Tell us what the organization is all about.
Okay, so Teach Good, Lead Good is a professional development organization. I started it last year because I've been working for a long time, as you mentioned, in education, starting off as a teacher, special needs teacher, and working all the way through in various parts of Jamaica as a school inspector. I traveled to thousands, hundreds of schools in Jamaica, maybe nearly all, to do observations of teachers and to help leaders to improve schools. So I feel very passionately about supporting teachers and leaders to improve and to change their culture, to help with their curriculum, and to just make them give students the best opportunities possible. And I find that teachers don't get enough of that support on the ground. You know, you're thrust into a classroom and then you're expected to just know what to do. And frankly, I didn't learn how to be a good teacher or a good principal until I was actually in it and doing it and practicing it and getting help. So my organization really is about that. I deliver workshops and I do consultancies in schools directly, and also with the Ministry of Education to just push us forward. So you can imagine that this is a very exciting time for me, even though it's stressful, but I'm just watching us shift. Yeah, so it's very exciting. It's scary, but Lord, there's a part of me that's just very excited about the things that can possibly happen with education as a result
of this. So just to give a little background, it was last year that Renee mentioned to me that she was actually going, because we've been talking about her passion for the leadership behind education and the support that our teachers need, because we pretty much just put our teachers out and we leave them. So she was very passionate about nurturing our teachers with leadership skills, with their communication skills. So we're continuing to build these whole person teachers who serve Jamaica. I mean, a critical pillar of the stability of this country. And I remember when Renee was talking about it, and I get a little emotional with it, and she said, Rush, you know when your passion catch up with you and it busts you down and it said, go girl, and you just have to go. And she just jumped into it and talk about God's timing, because she needed to get it off the ground for a time like this. So guys, please don't sit down on your passions.
Absolutely.
Went out and launched it. She did not know there would be COVID and homeschooling and an entire new way of educating our people. And look at it now. She was checked out for this time.
Yeah, this is like a powerful moment. It's unprecedented and it's a powerful moment. I mean, for everybody, I think we've all been saying that, but definitely for education, I think we either change or die, going forward.
Yeah. So, Rez, when you're looking at our landscape now, schools are closed for an undetermined period. What are some of the challenges that you're hearing from parents? And I know you're not just hearing it from Jamaica, but you're hearing it from overseas, because children are now at home. Some schools have a better system. What's that? Can you give us an overall feel of the landscape now with education in this COVID time?
Right. Well, I think that for parents, I think the challenge has been trying to juggle continuing to work, getting their minds around this crisis, because it's affecting all of us in ways that we can't even begin to imagine. And at the same time, having your children with you all the time. So, you would go out and get a break and focus on other things, but you're managing many things. And so the pressures that are involved in that are tremendous. But one of the things that I have been saying to parents and saying to myself as a mother of twins is that homeschool is not school. Right? It's not school, and it wasn't meant to be. And I don't think that we should be trying to recreate school at home. And so there are many.
Can you expand a little on that? Because I know some of the mothers are jumping through the screen now. What do you mean, Renee?
Listen, I think we all need a chance. We've been given a gift, and I don't know that we realize it. I think that our governments who put policy in place, our schools, our teachers, our parents, people have been given a gift, and the gift that we've been given at the moment is time. And I think that we have to be mindful of this time that we've been given. And I think for education, but we've been on a fast track. We've been producing, we're in a factory. I always think that it's a factory, this education system that we have. And I think that it has given us a chance to pause and to think about how we do things, how effective these things are, and how we can do them differently. And so I'm wanting us all to be very mindful. Look, CSEC is pushed back. PEP is pushed back. Who cares about any of those things right now? Really? I mean, what we need to be concerned about is whole people, children who are able to talk freely about how they're feeling, about what is going on, finding new ways of learning different things. I mean, my children are cooking with me in the kitchen every day. A friend of mine is
a form of learning.
Absolutely, which are that's real learning. I mean, that's truly how learning should be. It's just that we have a structure that does not always facilitate that kind of approach, and best kinds of learning come when we're actively doing it. The research is replete with examples of how we learn best when we are doing and when we're participating, and not when we're just sitting before a teacher and having that person give us all the information. And the reality is that our children don't need help with content anymore because they have access to it everywhere. So they need to be given opportunities to put all of that into effect. And I think parents are having that challenge with juggling everything. I consider myself privileged, and I'm very mindful of my privilege, even to sit here with you and have this discussion right now about homeschooling, because many people just can't do it. They simply can't. Many people don't have access to any kind of technology in our country. I think the last statistics I heard were like 50% of our students are online. At one of our very prominent high schools in Jamaica, the principal was just telling me that only 50% of his students are online at this point. And some teachers don't have laptops. They don't have laptops of their own, and they're struggling with internet services. So there are many who are not practicing homeschooling in the way some of us are able to. And so I'm hearing that a lot.
So it's a reminder to us, though, that a lot of the times, to the things that we're actually complaining about, the work coming in from the teachers, having to be monitoring, that this is actually a privilege, because there's some students who are having no contact with education now. There's no internet access. The teachers don't have the internet access. The school didn't have proper internet access. So in fact, we are blessed to have this problem.
Yeah, we are, and I mean, I think that what it forces us to do going forward, I hope, is to realize the inequities, because I think we're seeing so many more gaps that exist, and I think that we need to act on those when we're out of this, and we need to be very purposeful about how we see teaching and learning. What really is proper assessment? Is doing a test over 3 days the real way that we need to assess children? I mean, I know that we have to put them in schools and ours is for placement and all of that, but what is meaningful at this time? What is going to prepare our children for the next level? I mean, my children are 7 years old, and I see them collaborating on Zoom. I see them teaching when Zoom comes up and somebody's unable to find why it is that they can't see themselves, or why they're not seeing everybody. The students help each other to do that. They're collaborating. They know how to do all of that. And those skills about hosting a meeting, who speaks first, who, those kinds of things are skills that many children are learning to do, and they're doing it with ease, because
guaranteed. That's fascinating.
That's right. So, I think that we have to look at where our children are and meet them there. They have been dragging us along. All our children have been dragging us around. Our young people have been dragging us into this century. My son's teacher did not know how to set up a YouTube channel until this happened. So the first week went by and she was giving us information, really good stuff. They were still doing a lot of good work. But then we had a discussion about seeing her. And it made such a difference when she started by sending them a video in the morning. So they had a morning meeting, which was what they're accustomed to doing at school. And in that meeting, it was a check-in, just telling them what she expected of them for that day, hoping they're feeling good, touching into their social and emotional, that part of their being, finding out what's going on with them. And since then, she decided to set up a YouTube channel where she was just doing little math problems, showing them examples on the channel, and learning from other teachers and doing research. So I think it's an opportunity for teachers as well to up their game, to upskill. This is the time. I know there's a lot going on. Teachers are juggling with their own families as well. But this is the time for teachers also to step up and to figure out different, more creative ways to meet our children where they are.
So, Renz, you as an educator and a mother, everybody, of course, looks and says, Renee must have this all together. She must have her curriculum set at home. Those kids are on a schedule and she has it all together. Can you share with us what your experience has been and how you've been coping?
Listen, I tell everybody, that I was principal of a school with 600 children, and when I walked into the hall, you could drop a pin. There was silence, right? Because they would all be glued and ready to listen to Miss Rattray speak. I have 2 children, and they have knocked that completely out of the water. Parenting is the most humbling experience. First of all, them don't think you know anything, and you can't help them with anything. And so it is a challenge, and just getting them on that schedule is a challenge. I believe in routines, and I believe that schedules are important. I don't do them during holidays, pretty much, but my children, I had them actually design their own schedule, right? Yes. I decided to make them participate in that effort. And so they came up with their own schedule with all the important things, obviously, that needed to be in there. I told them what needed to be included, and they did it so that neither of them was working at the same pace, because they're different, right? Mm-hmm. They're very different people. And,
even though they're twins.
Even though they're twins, they're very different people, and they wanted to do things, how they learn best. So I'm getting to know them. And I'm trying to understand what works for each of them and allow them to do that. But structure is important. One of the things that happened in the first week was that they were eating everything in the house because they were just coming to come snack. And, and I'm like, no, this cannot work. So you have breakfast, you eat when there is a break, as you would at school, and you will have lunch. And then, so those things have to be in the schedule, because I think they will save our pockets. And that's something that I highly recommend doing. But I also feel that when they're tired, we should stop. It's not business as usual. We're not in an usual time.
Yes.
And we have to keep remembering that we're not in a usual time. And what this time, I can't stress enough, has given us is an opportunity to do things in a different way, to connect in a different way. I'm having dinner with my children every single evening. We're sitting together as a family. And that's not something that we were consistent with, because life just happens, right? You come home, you go to school, and then you come home, and then the cycle starts all over again.
Yes.
And so it's been really great.
Time with the children.
Yes, we play hopscotch outside, and we teach them dandy shandy and all exactly all those things that we would not normally do. And that's what parents who do not have access and whose children do not have access to internet and to learning and can't access this chat. That's what we need to be doing, having them
sharing.
Yes, if you're cooking, bring them into the kitchen and make them measure this and measure that, have those conversations and try to bring learning into activities that you're doing.
Okay. I want to bring Naomi in because Naomi is the mother, the birth mother of one of my children. So she gets to keep him in the days for me.
He's so gorgeous. I've seen pictures of him. He's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
And one of the things is that I keep troubling Naomi with is that we talked at the beginning of the year that she wanted this year as a time that she had more time with our son, Johnny.
Here you go.
Time with him. And Nay, any questions for Renee or anything that you want to share? Because you have a teenager.
Sure. So I have a teenager that's going to be 14 on Friday.
Wow.
So this has been interesting for us. I mean, at first I was really stressed out. I mean, for those that follow me on Instagram, I created a sign for my office door to say when you're allowed to knock on the door, including if you have COVID-19 symptoms. These are the symptoms, then you knock on the door. If it's something that Google cannot answer, then you knock on the door.
Right.
I couldn't function. Especially if it was math related. That is not my area of expertise. I told him to contact his teacher on Google Classroom, get his number, say, sir, I do not understand this, and let your teacher walk you through because mommy cannot help you in that area. However, what I have been doing, which I was telling Rochelle earlier, is I've been trying to connect more on his level with things that he likes.
Right.
So we started playing Mario Kart on last weekend, and now I'm the one that's playing it all the time.
Who don't know what Mario Kart is, please?
You have to know what Mario Kart is, Rochelle. I know you know what Mario Kart is.
But some people don't, like Catherine.
So I play Super Mario Kart with him, which I've now taken over in my free time to try and up-level my skills in that area. He loves Legos. He's loved Legos since he was maybe about 2. And so I bought a Lego set for myself, which is a building of Paris, and it has the Eiffel Tower and Arc de Triomphe and all these things. And then I got him something from Avengers or something like that. So at least we can be creating together as well.
Mm-hmm. A friend of mine told me she has teenage girls. They're 16 and 17, and she's been doing TikTok with them.
Oh wow! Yeah,
they're doing foolishness with them all the time, and that's not her. She's not into that, and she's just been doing it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We know, as you said, we have more real time to connect. Yeah. And so I'm trying to really make the most of it. I mean, sometimes I am irritated. He's a talker like me. So there's a lot of talking, and sometimes I just want this.
Right.
So but we find our balance now. And so thank God he's a reader like me. So we have reading time where I'll read one of my books and he'll read one of his books. Mm-hmm. So we're starting to find something that works for us. But it was pretty rough in the beginning. I don't know what will happen next week when online learning.
That's again. Yeah, but I one of the things that comes back to me again is this whole matter of privilege, because there are some children who we have to be mindful of who do not have great homes to be in right now.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I'm very conscious of that, and I think that we as a community. We have to bear that in mind as well. If we know of people who might be going through challenging circumstances, if there's a child who is in your child's class, think of them, reach out to them in some way, connect them with your child, have them have a conversation, something just to break up the monotony, the difficulty.
I'm sure everybody's okay.
Yes, check in.
And even this could also be an avenue for Giveback, where you're buying a toy for your child, because I see everybody going to the pharmacy and buying all kind of exciting things.
Yes.
We could actually buy and share with another child, or we could, some of the toys that we have, some of them are very gently used, because you buy toys for children, they play with a box, they play with the box that the toy come in and never play with it. And this is a great way we can go through the books that we have, and we can do books
absolutely
to our churches. So because as Renee mentioned, this whole process of learning is not just doing PEP or CSEC, it is a process of learning. Yes. And what we can do is we can see what ways we can give back to our own communities for those of us who have a little bit more.
Yeah, I see Shakira saying that for students who are unable to access the work in her community, they prepare packages and leave them in the community for persons to collect.
That is brilliant, Shakira. And we would love to get some more information on that, Shakira, so that we can share with our emergers, as persons may want to do something similar, or they could share with your community. So this is really such an amazing time that we can connect with our children, but also recognize that there are some children who are not in the same situation, and we can connect with them by reaching out to find out. Sometimes, the children, there's a potential internet access, but what they need is a credit.
Right, exactly.
Have an iPad or tablet that we have around the house, and the children, they throw it down. Mm-hmm. And one child throw it down on another child. It is the most amazing.
Absolutely. I think in the same way that we're doing, some people are doing like care packages, I think we could do activity packages.
Definitely.
So like, for example, my child, and I'll say it here, he has 1 million Lego pieces, honestly. Because he's been building Legos since he was 2. And when people would ask me, what should I get him? I would always say books or Legos. He still plays with a lot of them, or let me not use that word play because he'd kill me. But he still builds and creates. But we still have a lot that he does not use. So it's something I've actually been thinking of for a long time, to just get them sanitized and create these little bundles of Legos, like a starter kit that we could like package and deliver to different people and stuff like that. So that could be another thing, to create activities that can be delivered to different communities or different homes where kids can appreciate some toys, books, games, different kinds of, a pack of cards goes a long way.
And also as part of that Giveback, I think teachers are struggling as well to find their way in this new interface. And there are many people in corporate who do this all the time, just giving them assistance in how to organize classes and how to do that. If that's your child's teacher, reach out to them and give them some advice as to how you can use what you're doing, So at this time, I think education is a team sport. I say that everywhere I go. It is, and this has made us realize that it can't be schools alone, that schools serve a greater purpose than just teaching, what they teach. It's a socializing space. And it requires everybody to be involved in this process if we want to have the kind of Jamaica that we want, that we need. And I also feel this is an opportunity for teachers as well to be able to earn money. This is leveling the playing field a lot.
We got a comment that one person actually indicated. Is it I'm looking for that comment where somebody pointed out, Shakira also said that she's a teacher, and she told her colleagues it is a time to add value, because now is a great time to be a teacher. And even a lot of our students are wondering what professions, but we keep seeing teaching as just a boxed in classroom. And what COVID has shown us is that the classroom is so much bigger. And in fact, what I've heard is that there are some schools that the teachers are actually better, and the news has passed, so the students share their Zoom links, so that particular expert teacher is able to reach several. Well, that is so beautiful. Renee, though, people want to know how they can link with Renee, how they can find out about all that Teach Good, Lead Good is doing. How can people contact you, Renz?
You can find me on all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as Teach Good, Lead Good, or just Renee Rattray. I'll give you my personal number, 469-2595. I'm always, sorry, too fast?
You said that so fast.
I'm sorry, 469-2595. I am always ready to do work with teachers, with school leaders, and coming up very shortly, I'll be doing a number of interviews with principals and teachers who are doing the work and finding out how it's going and how they're adjusting to this new space.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Rattray, for sharing your passion. And we are so grateful that you've walked in your purpose, because it truly is for a time like this. We pray all just continued blessing and abundance for your organization, and that it will continue to grow and serve our teachers and, very importantly, our children. Thank you so much, Renee.
Thank you for having me, ladies.
Thank you, Renee.
All right.
Children, hi.
I will.
Oh, that was excellent.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Over to you.
Okay, great. So that was so awesome. So we heard from Marsha, we heard from Renee, and now we're going to get into some money moves discussions, because money moves is a big part of what Emerge does. We're always trying to share the best types of tips as it relates to your finances that's relevant, especially right now. So we're going to be joined by our friends from NCB and NCB Capital Markets, and we're going to be talking about taking care of your pockets, and hopefully the pockets of other people too. So we're supporting each other during this time. So we're going to bring on our two guests from NCB and NCB Capital Markets. First, we have Valerie Ferguson, and she is the manager of the Morant Bay branch for NCB. Welcome, Valerie.
Thank you again, ladies.
And then we also have Cleopatra Bihari. Am I pronouncing that last name correctly?
Yes, you are.
And she is a wealth advisor at NCB Capital Markets. So ladies, I want to start first with Valerie. Just asking, what are some of the financial decisions that you think we should be focused on right now? I know a lot of people are anxious. We don't know what's happening. Banks are closing. As the COVID-19, we hear about new cases in different locations, so we can expect more of that. We know there are great platforms online that we can still access our finances and do banking transactions daily, but we do have things that we have to think about, like emergency fund and debt management and paying our mortgage. And what do we do right now? What are some of the things you could recommend as it relates to the financial decisions that we should be making right now in this time?
Okay, thank you, Naomi. So the first thing we say to our customers in this trying time is, one, do not panic. That's the first thing we say to them, do not panic. What you find is that in epidemics such as COVID, persons tend to panic and they rush to do things without thinking. And it is after the fact that they stop to consider, did I make a wise decision? So as it relates to how customers should behave at this time is, one, recognize that there is a situation that requires you to sit down and to think about what is it you're going to do before you even make a move. Two, speak with your banker. Speak with your banker, because we are the professionals who can help you through this trying time. And what has happened is that even in our institution, National Commercial Bank, we have created avenues where our customers can ask for assistance. And also as bankers, we reach out to them, especially in our small and medium enterprise sector, where we have different packages that can assist them in terms of moratoriums, extension on their facilities, and those who just probably, even if you do not have a cash problem, you can still ask for assistance and you can be processed to see how we can help you. Because the aim in this trying time is, one, to ensure that our customers, especially those who are generating income in the SME market, and as you know, the SME sector is one of the largest contributors to the economic development of the country. And therefore, we take an interest in them and we want to hear from them to say, oh, let us dialogue, let us see what your needs are. Let us help you stay afloat during this trying time. And so at NCB, as I told you before, we do have those packages that we have created, and we invite our customers to dialogue with us so that we can help them. Some persons may not require a moratorium, but they may want additional capital, depending on the nature of their business. And so we want them to let us know what is happening rather than not coming to us. And then before you know it, your business starts to suffer. You have depleted cash flow. You cannot take care of your finances, and so on.
And let me ask you, so Valerie, so thank you so much for that. Because I'm an SME as well, so or as my micro business, and so that's great information. But what if I'm not in the SME group and I'm just a regular customer of NCB and I'm just trying to figure out how to navigate these waters? I know people are talking about pulling their money out of the bank, you know, keeping it under the mattress right now because we don't know what's happening. And then some people are not really sure how to reconfigure the budget because yes, you may not be using money for gas right now, but you're at home a lot more, which means your JPS bill is going to go up. So what are some of those things that we should be looking out for or to help navigate these waters right now for just an average individual?
Okay, thank you for that. Earlier on, my colleague Cleopatra and I were discussing we would have had similar thoughts on how our customers can stay afloat in this pandemic. So the first thing we look at is that create a budget. You do have an income, but there are some persons right now they may be working on reduced income because one, they may have been laid off or they may have lost their job. Right? So how do you survive until you are reinstated in your job or if you have to find new employment? So we look at creating a budget. One, look at the things that are more critical and important. So definitely your bills must be paid, right? But you may have a situation where you're getting an income, but you still can't pay your bills. And that is where, as your bankers, again, we engage our customers. So for those who have been laid off, we still engage you because they too can qualify or can benefit from either restructuring of their facility or they can get a moratorium on their loans, right? Also, the products that we offer, especially those persons who have opted for the unsecured facilities, we do have our creditor life insurance that actually acts as a protection for them for up to 6 months if they have been made, say for example, they were made redundant. So we do have our package loans that actually caters to these type of situations where customers are affected. So we go back to the budgeting. So what are the things that are more important?
So the key thing is to really sit down and have a conversation with your banker and let them know, be honest, be truthful, and let them know the real situation in order for you to help and provide your expertise and knowledge.
Exactly. And Naomi, what I would say, it's very important to have a budget. In doing the budget, you'll be able to itemize exactly what the expenses are, what the income is. And some persons are afraid of doing the budget, but there are different ways you can use an app to help you. Everybody wants the easy way now. So there are apps that can help you to just do the budget on a monthly basis, and you'll be able to see every month how you can reduce the expenses. And that is very important in staying afloat at this point in time.
Yes, and I know that in the past, we have actually gotten budget templates from NCB Capital Markets. Right. So for anyone that's watching this live and you're interested in that, you can also reach out to us, send us a DM or an email, and we can definitely send a copy of that to you because we do have that as well. And it was a pretty detailed budget. It included like everything.
Yes. And once you itemize it, you can know.
And I think people right now have to be probably restructuring their budgets just based on what is happening.
Exactly.
So yes, Carrie, Valerie, sorry.
Right. So also on that note too, as it relates to the budgeting process, you must also take care. Some of the things that you would have normally done when everything was okay, you have a good salary, so you'll be going to the hot restaurants, you're going to watch a movie, etc. Some of those things you definitely will just have to cut off because you cannot enjoy all the benefits of life in this type of economy,
Yes.
right?
Not business as
So,
usual.
Not
business
as usual. Yes.
and at the
Right.
same time, you're still expected to save a little from what you get,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of different aspects of how to manage your money in this trying time, because at the
Right.
end of the day, COVID will pass.
Yes.
But you don't want a case when COVID is gone, you're left broke, and that is when we might not be able to help you, because we want to see that one you're in a position to manage the little that you have, right? And I know Cleopatra will tell you a little bit about some of the products that they have on the capital market side that can help our customers to maximize from the little that they have.
Right.
Absolutely. And I had one more question for you, Valerie.
Yes.
Let's say someone was already in the process of purchasing a house or an apartment or even a car. What's the
Right.
kind of advice that you'd give to someone right now that's trying to decide, is this a good idea for me to continue with this, or should I put that on pause because of the uncertainty right now?
Well, I'll be honest with you. There are some customers, depending on the nature of their job. So if you're self-employed, depending on the industry that you're in, if you're not one that is severely affected by the COVID pandemic, then we will encourage you to continue. But we also assist you with how we structure your loans, right?
Okay.
To probably give you a 6 months moratorium, and also for persons who may have some level of uncertainty whether or not they're going to have their job at the end or during the pandemic, we will definitely say to you, okay, if you're not comfortable, we recommend that you hold off a little, because there are times when we have to tell our customers to say, okay, at this point in time, we don't think it is the best time for you to purchase a car. Furthermore, you have nowhere going. You might be going on the lockdown and so on.
Exactly.
So we would recommend that you hold off a bit. Or if you find that you're going to purchase a car that might take you outside of your budget, we recommend you consider, because we don't tell the customers that they must. So
Right.
would you consider accessing a vehicle that is more economical for you, depending on where you have to go to work? And so, yes, we do have those types of dialogue with our customers. So at the end of the day, one, it builds that trust factor.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, they will definitely come back and say, you know what, the other day I really wanted to do my own thing, but you held me by the hand and you encouraged me, and I'm really happy that you did, because I realized the benefits of it now. So those are some of the things that we engage our customers on.
Make sure you are restructuring those budgets based on the current situation that you're in, and it's different for everyone else. But definitely speak with your financial advisor, because they're the experts. They're the ones that can help to walk you through so that you come out still saving, still investing where possible, because we are big believers in paying yourself first as well, but also managing your debt and your expenses. So no, Cleopatra.
Before you go to Cleopatra, I'd just like to add one last thing for customers who still need to get that moratorium on their loans.
Yes.
We do have a COVID assist at jncb.com email address that they can send their information in, where they will be assessed and definitely will get an answer. So we have that email address that customers can send in the information.
So that's COVID assist at jncb.com. Okay, great. We have that. I think that COVID has an E in it, Kat. So it's COVID assist at jncb.com. Awesome. So Cleopatra.
Yes.
How can we earn on our savings and investments during this time still? I know people have a lot of concerns about the Jamaica stock market. Should we be buying or selling their shares? What are your thoughts on this right now?
And rightly so. There are some stocks in the portfolio that you really wouldn't need to have in your portfolio at this point in time. When you're invested in stocks, it really ought to be for the long term. And I find that a lot of persons go into the stock market, willy-nilly. They just heard that somebody is going into it and they would have earned 100% and they want to get that return as well. But that's really not supposed to be the purpose. It really ought to be a long-term investment. That's what I normally say to persons, first of all. But at this point in time, it's important for you to be looking at your portfolio. Analyze the portfolio with your banker and see which stocks you need to probably look at selling at this point in time. Most of the stocks would have decreased significantly year to date, but there are still some opportunities. So there are stocks that are on the market right now Lasco Distribution, Lasco Manufacturing, there are certain stocks that have appreciated within the last few weeks. So persons need to actually look at purchasing stocks. And Warren Buffett, all these persons tell you that it is important to invest in the stocks while it's low. When other persons are looking to sell, there's an opportunity to purchase. Right, because you're in it for the long term. So you'd be surprised to see 5-10 years from now how well your portfolio has performed.
Absolutely. So, well, this is probably speaking to what we're speaking to right now, where WizKid252 said, is it wise to keep our money in the stock market since the market is declining? But as you just said, some stocks are declining, but some are appreciating at the same time. And I know that you can also get some stocks that maybe you couldn't afford before at a much better price right now.
Right.
But again, it goes back to understanding your budget.
Yes, and constantly working with your
funds you have to do that too.
Right.
Someone just asked, Philip, are there any new financial opportunities available with NCB that persons can look into at this time during the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes.
Right. So, okay. Go ahead.
So let me take that one, because I'm feeling that the person may be asking about probably loans, and I would have covered that before in terms of the moratorium, but definitely we continue business as usual. So customers may want to get some cash flow. Definitely come in, speak with us. We have our sales officers in each branch, and we always are ready. We are open and ready for business. So it doesn't mean because we are going through a pandemic now that we are not still offering loans to customers who are going through financial difficulties. So we invite Mr. Philip. They can send me an email at fergusonvm@jncb.com.
So that's fergusonvm@jncb.com.
Definitely.
In addition to that, at NCB Capital Markets, we're working with customers. So we are seeing this as an opportunity again for persons to invest more in the equities market and generally invest. And so we are saying it's a good time for you to use your equities, use your stocks as an opportunity for you to borrow against. So you can get up to 50% of the value of your portfolios to borrow. So you can still borrow and invest in stocks that you deem would be necessary stocks that you can hold for the long term and get solid dividends that's going to be paying you quarterly for the long term.
Absolutely. But once again, everybody's situation is different. So everyone that's watching, you need to understand what your financial situation is right now. And if you're not sure, now is the time
to your advisor,
financial advisor, so that they can guide you in the right direction as it relates to just basic budgeting, debt management, asking about the moratorium, and asking about the ways that you can still be investing and increasing value in your portfolios, or figuring out if you maybe need to be a little bit more liquid at this time, but it all depends on your situation right now. So Belle just said, just invested in a place that I was hoping to get some rental income by way of Airbnb. That is clearly not going to happen, and I have a mortgage to pay. Any suggestions as to the way forward?
Again, Belle can also apply via the the COVID assist at jncb.com. And of course, they will take up his or her situation and communicate with her, because these are the customers that we're looking out for who are currently having financial challenges. These are the persons that we're looking forward to help.
Okay, great. I see some more questions coming in. What about, so I guess this would probably be for Cleopatra, what about the stock that has declined to the point where you are in a major deficit? What do you suggest?
Hi, Janet. All right, so there are stocks that have declined significantly. Sometimes you have to just decide, okay, I'm going to just sell, realize these losses, and probably get into another stock that would be deemed to perform better for the long term. I say to persons also, if you're looking at the stock for the short term, in terms of you don't have an immediate need for the money, just hold it for the long term. If it's solid companies, that it will continue to pay you dividends and you won't have to worry about it in the long term. But if you need the funds for the short term, let's say you're going to be, using the money to do something else, of course, it has to be a necessity at this point in time. Yes. Then we can have a conversation about whether or not you will sell, realize the loss, and just move on from there.
So, I know even for me personally, I just started investing in the stock market January of last year. through NCB Capital Markets. And it has been a great experience, but as someone very new, when I got my statement a couple of days ago, I had to just filter it into another box because I didn't want to see it, right? Because I didn't want to have the anxiety, because I'm one of those individuals that I'm in it for the long term. So but if I see the losses, I will probably be somebody at NCB Capital Markets to say, can I please sell this? No. But I know that, like you said, this too will pass.
Yes,
and
stick to our goal.
And I know that I still have some savings. And I know that really touching the investment should be a last resort. So I'm trying to hold out and just not look and see what's happening.
Very important. And that's why I said it has to be a long-term goal. You know, it has to be a case where, okay, you've depleted all the other options, and this is an absolute necessity.
Okay, so here's another question, and this is for you, Cleo. What are your views on the unit trust performance over the short to medium term when compared to the stock market?
Well, most of the unit trusts, as you know, they are pretty much invested in stocks. So most institutions, Scotia, NCB, Sagicor, have similar instruments, unit trust instruments. And therefore, persons are looking right now at whether or not they should exit those funds, because again, if it is an equity-based unit trust, then you're going to realize that it is going to be mimicking what is happening on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And therefore, it is important to look at, once persons come to me, I normally say it's diversification. So if it's a case where you have different unit trust instruments, for example, an equity-based fund and a fixed income fund, then you can look at probably moving funds from the equity-based fund into a money market fund, which is a more conservative product. So at this point in time, again, each person is different. It's a different situation. So we want you to have the conversations with us and not just think, okay, one size fits all. It's going to work for this person. So I always have just individual conversations with persons. So Jermaine, I'm saying to you, it's important to look at the different unit trust products and look at what is happening with your particular instrument that you would have invested in. Right now, this you mentioned in terms of the stock market, comparing it to the stock market. If it's an equity-based product, it's going to be mimicking what is happening in the stock market.
So I think there's one more question that I'd want you to address, where WizKid again had asked, how does the moratorium affect your overall mortgage end date?
All right. So the moratorium, how it works is that you get a break for say 3 to 6 months on your principal payment. So you continue to pay interest. Usually with a moratorium, it will perhaps extend your loan, but there are some customers who can opt to say, okay, I do not wish to extend my loan at the end of the moratorium. I like to continue paying the same amount. So it depends on what the customer is actually asking for under normal circumstances. In this case, however, the bank is giving you a break for 3 months, but then you would return to paying your regular mortgage when the moratorium period has passed to the life of the loan.
Okay. I hope that answered your question, WizKid. Well, ladies, this was great. I mean, we always realize that our Money Move segment is a hot topic for Emerge and any Emerge events that we do, and even on our lives. So this was super informative. I mean, just understanding the basics, that it really goes on. Everything to me comes back to 2 things: understanding your financial situation and your budget, and then having that real, honest, and open conversation with your financial advisor, whether it's someone at NCB or at NCB Capital Markets, depending on what you need to speak about. But NCB and NCB Cap Markets has great opportunities for you in this space as well. Through NCB Capital Markets, you can get up to 50% of the value of your portfolio in terms of a loan, so that you can now reinvest in the stock market. Or as it relates to NCB, you can speak to them about getting a moratorium to help you manage your debt at this time and to extend those payments, or to not make payments for a very short period of time until we are all back to some kind of normalcy. And so you can reach out to Valerie directly. She had shared her email address. Catherine, I don't know if you remember where it is, or if we can just pull it back up on the screen. It should be in the comments. And then also, you can also, Cleo, what's the best place for someone to reach you if they want to speak about investments and opportunities?
It's Behari, CE, at jncb.com. So that's BEHARIECE at jncb.com.
Awesome. And then the email address for assistance, Valerie, that was COVID. I know I wrote it down as well.
COVID-assist at jncb.com.
Awesome. So we'll also put this in our comments as well after, so that individuals that watch the broadcast after can also find the information on our page at Ready to Emerge.
Right.
So thank you, ladies, so much. If we have any additional questions, we'll definitely send them to you so that we can still answer them for our audience who maybe did not get an opportunity to ask today.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Okay, have a good night.
You too.
Awesome.
Oh, we had a very eventful evening. So, the NCB conversation was very interesting for the simple fact that the book that we chose for this week was Richest Man in Babylon. And it was my first time actually reading the book. I know you and Rochelle have read it like 100 times already. But it was very interesting when both ladies spoke about the importance of budgeting. And one of the takeaways for me from reading the book was that we have to have a budget. We can't spend more than what we make. And how we allocate the money has to be determined by the money that we're generating. And of course, paying it first.
Absolutely. I mean, we could actually go through some of the key points from the book, which, I mean, the first one is start thy purse to fattening. I mean, that just sounds juicy already. Who doesn't want a fat purse, right? Right now, a fat purse or a fat wallet. And this point is actually, this is the crux of the book. It's the classic principle of paying yourself first. And then it speaks about control thy expenditures. And that goes back to managing your budget.
Yeah.
Make thy goal multiplied. So that's investments. You want your goal, like I remember, I don't know if it's from this book or somewhere else, you want to think of your goal as children and they're making more children. So it's like you're continuously investing and getting more from your initial investment.
Something about paying yourself first, because what was, I guess, what struck me importantly was when they talked about the principle of paying yourself first. It was putting aside 1/10 of your earning to pay yourself after you've already paid. Well, the book says after you've paid to the gods what is due to the gods. So after, for those of us that believe in tithing, after you pay tithe, then you pay yourself 10% after that. And then you focus on your budgeting, your expenses, and your investments.
Yes. And then they say, guard thy treasures from loss. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment. Ensure a future income. Increase thy ability to earn. So that's whether it's multiple revenue streams, increasing your value so that you can get paid more. I mean, I have the book here. It's a very small book. Look at it. Super small. It's an easy book to read. And because they do it in story format, not a directional book of, these steps, it's in the form of a story. So it really resonates easily. I know a couple people had requested this book for me from Audible, which I had sent out last week. But it's such a small book, easy to read. If you don't have a copy, you can download it on Audible. If you're not an Audible member, you can actually do a free trial on Audible for 30 days, and that could be your first book that you try on the platform.
The principle about guiding your treasures from loss. I thought it was very funny, the examples that they used, because a lot of us spend our money and we don't, we talk about investment, but it's about making the right investment. And it's about not giving a butcher money to go and buy jewels, because the butcher will come back with glass because they don't know any better.
Right.
Or it's about not lending your money to people that can't pay you back.
Pay you back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pay you back,
or
Yeah.
don't pay. That's right. Integrity and ability to pay. Two
Yeah.
things that we need to be concerned about.
Yeah.
So I definitely thought that this was worth the read. It was excellent information, currently applicable life principles that all of us need to be mindful of.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what's our book for this week, guys?
Okay. So just to mention, Crazy Mugs. Hi, Crazy Mugs. This is the first time joining us, and Crazy
Welcome.
Mugs has mentioned another book, The Richest Man Who Ever Lived. So I'm going to download that shortly.
Ooh, I'm going to check that out.
So for next week, so what was funny is Naomi had posted a picture of Lola, her niece. So sometimes like you take a little break and you're fasting on Instagram. So I actually went into Naomi's brother's Instagram page and I clicked on Nestor and I was looking at his pictures, and he posted a book that I got a few years ago, well, probably about 6 years ago, when Malcolm Gladwell came to Jamaica. So Malcolm Gladwell came, I had the privilege of sitting with him at a table, and I also got him to sign the book, David and Goliath. And God say no, me never read the book. So
It's good for the soul.
I took up the book and I read it last night, and just how timely it is for COVID. So the premise of the book is the story of David and Goliath and the advantage of being the underdog. And how I look at COVID is that we feel like underdogs in COVID, but what this is really a time that as an underdog, you have the opportunity to create opportunity and innovate, because that's what underdogs do. They find that way to win at a time when winning does not seem probable, because you have nothing to lose. And it was just so amazing for me. So today I had a little incident where I was walking past a piece of furniture and it attacked me. It just jumped out and broke my toe. So I hobbled with my toe to Andrews Memorial Hospital. Thank you to the staff there and Dr. Williams. And while I was there, I thought to myself, whoa, this is a David and Goliath moment. I said to the doctor, how long is this process going to take to fix the toe? And he aligned the toe. I saw a peony wally, but he aligned the toe. And I said to myself, I am going to be on Emerge Live. Nothing is going to stop me tonight.
Oh, we were so excited to see what you talked about the screen, guys.
Yeah.
And you know that everything is about mindset. And while I was there, I was just thinking that, I said, wow, you could have broken your leg. You didn't. You broke a toe. You could have broken your arm. You could have had COVID. But what you have is a broken toe that reminds you that notwithstanding COVID, other things can happen. So pay attention to the first
right.
attack you. Because we're so focused on this thing that we forget that life is
still happening.
Yeah.
And because life is happening, flowers are still blooming, the sun is still coming out, notwithstanding lockdown. So I said to myself, how many of these David and Goliath moments do you have where you have these seemingly insurmountable things that you can decide, I am going to win, I am going to beat this. So I'm highly recommending the book David and Goliath, and we shall discuss it next week, because one of the things we must remember is that in this time that we're to dispense with a lot of our trappings. So a lot of the things that were weighing us down, we're technically lighter and more nimble now. And that was the advantage David had, that because he was lighter and more nimble, he went right for Goliath's forehead, and Goliath could move as fast as he could. So how can we move faster? Know that a lot of our trappings have come off, that we can actually be more nimble. And no matter what you're facing, sometimes you just have to say to yourself, but I'm going to win this. I'm going to win it.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now on Audible to see if it's there. David and Goliath, so that I can download it.
So this was a very eventful evening, and I mean, there are so many takeaways, from our conversations with Marsha, reminding us of the importance of giving back. Again, Food for the Poor, JA.org is their website, and you can see all the different platforms that you can use to give back. all the different things during COVID that we can help with. And again, the reminder is that if we don't have cash to give of our time through telling people about the different ways that we can give back, sharing a kind word, calling to check on somebody, buying groceries for somebody, an elderly person that can't come out now. You know, there's so many different ways. Calling and reading a book to somebody. I mean, there's so many people that and so you can kill two birds with one stone. Read David and Goliath to somebody, you know. Our session with Renee, I mean, I'm not a parent, right? But I wrote so many notes. This is a new opportunity to learn in different ways. It's a time for us to connect with our kids. It's a time for us to connect with each other. It's a time to let the children just be tired when they're tired and rest when they're tired, and not force them to be doing things that, you know, focus on schoolwork, when the reality is we're not pressuring them to do exams now. It's not like our time when we were doing common entrance and it was schoolwork 24 hours almost 7 days a week. When you're under pressure to do common entrance, it's a time to breathe. It's a time to reconnect. And of course,
I did GSAT, by the way. I don't know what is coming from.
You what?
I did GSAT.
Okay.
For sure.
Right. And of course, with NCB Capital Markets and NCB Bank, I mean, the first thing that Valerie said, which I think we all can subscribe to, is do not panic, right?
Yes, not panic.
And Patrick Hilton, who is the head of the NCB group, always says that crisis is the perfect time to get to know people in a different way. It's a time for us to connect in a different way. It's a time for us to see opportunities, right? So what are the opportunities that are going to come out of this for me? So my planner by Jay, I have it right here. And my finances.
Let us see the planner now, Catherine, from the front and stuff.
This is my planner. And it's amazing. It has my favorite scripture or my guiding scripture at the front, and it has my logo embedded in there.
Ooh.
And it has a case, and it has all kind of knickknacks that, you know. Anyway, so a big part of my year, my plan for this year is my financing. And so I
have friends to buy me one.
And I have an entire section dedicated to budgeting, right? And I started my budget, but it's on my NCB budget sheet, so it's not in here yet. And I started today by going through the processes of the richest man in Babylon, and wrote down how I'm going to apply those principles to my finances. And it has already started to give me so much clarity. I paid off 2 credit cards. I have 3 more to go.
Boy, Catherine.
Yeah, unfortunately, I live here and I live in the States, so I have. And the greatest lesson for me, and I think why it impacted me so much, was about guarding my treasures from loss, because I lent out a lot of money and I have not gotten back a lot of it. So I've learned my lesson, right? But the point is that I've created my budget and I'm applying the principles of the richest man in Babylon to my finances. And so we have to be mindful that it's not business as usual, right? The things that we used to spend money on, we need to stop spending money on now. Eating out, I said it last week, going to Starbucks, that had to cut out for many reasons, right?
Yep.
But the reality is that we're in conservation right now, with the exception of the stocks that we have. We're not trying to liquidate them, right? We're not trying to run away from the investments that we've already made. We're not trying to liquidate those responsibilities. Our insurance, Santa reminded us last week, leave it. Our stocks, for the ones that you know are going to bounce back. And, you know, I didn't know that Lasco Distributors has gone up because I stopped watching my stocks.
Yep.
And check it now just to make
Watch them, girl. I saw that statement come in my mailbox and I just filtered it to a different folder immediately.
I got an NCB. I got an NCB payment. Actually, it's right here on my desk. I got an NCB check. Dividend payments.
I think I actually have dividend payments from Signals as well. I just haven't checked that in the account yet.
Yeah, and it's in US dollars, FYI. So I mean, we need to be mindful of all of those things. And of course, Cleopatra reminded us that for those of us that do have stocks, we can actually borrow from NCB Capital Markets at 50%, up to 50% of the equity that we have in our stocks. What does that mean? That means that if our stock portfolio is valued at $5 million, we can borrow up to 2.5 against 2.5 of that money. So we could take $2.5 million and reinvest it in the stock market, right? Or in, you know, equities or the unit trust and all the other things that NCB reminded us of, right? So we have to also remember that all of our situations are different, and everybody thinks that all is lost, but there are a lot of SMEs that have pivoted and that are doing extremely well now. There's a lot of SMEs that are fashion designers that are making masks and are selling masks like crazy. They're doing all kind of coverings. There's one of my clients has a printing business, and he does 3D printing, and he is now printing masks for the medical teams that are on the road and the frontline workers, because that's his way of giving back.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are lots of things right now. Rochelle had mentioned it last week, and we were reminded today that, you know, if we're going to buy a car or take out a mortgage, maybe now instead of buying the Mercedes or the BMW, we buy something that's more affordable, that the payments are less, because we don't know how long the economy is going to take to bounce back.
Yep.
We don't know when things are going to normalize, right? I mean, there were just so many things that we got out of today.
And I think the key for today, though, is that there is hope and there is opportunity. And this crisis has been a time for us to step back and know that we've taken some time. We're recognizing how innovative we are, and so many opportunities are available.
Right.
And I think a key for me today was that we must be aware that all of us are not in the same situation. So as we complain about the internet is running slow, some people have no internet. And it is also one of the things that we would encourage you to use this next week to do is to declutter.
Yes.
So we've been able to do a bit of decluttering of our mind. Some of us need to do a decluttering of our space. And in decluttering, we will find some very useful items that we're able to put in care packages and share with others. So I'm doing a closet decluttering right now. And let me tell you, let me tell you, you know, when you look at some things and you're like, whose own is this? But I need it.
Probably mine, and so I'm gonna come and pick it up.
So there's a shoes that I took up, and let me tell you, from I look at the shoes burn me. It burned me. And I was like, why would you buy these shoes?
I know those kind of shoes, Rochelle. You're like, no,
I have quite a few.
Yeah, it's like, what was I thinking? So one of the things that I'm doing, and I think next week too, we can look to see what we have collected and where we can share these things, because I'm doing a lot of decluttering, because I found that there are a lot of things. What I really need right now is not all of these things that I've acquired over time. And don't think that I still don't love shoes and clothes, but I'm looking through and I'm like, apparently you have put this down so long you didn't even remember. Let it serve somebody who will find use for it. And one of the things with Richest Man in Babylon is that I keep reading it because I have to remind myself. But you know, sometimes people send you sales and stuff and you need these things. So I have to remind myself about paying myself.
Talk about all the sales that are happening. Right.
Because what is a reminder of is that when you keep your purse at a particular point, you're able to buffer yourself over a period. And it has been a stark reminder to me, a stark reminder.
You know what I think we should add to that decluttering exercise, Rush, is just a gratitude check as well.
Yeah.
Like everyone, I think, should really just write down 5 to 10 things that they are grateful for. Because there is, as you said, we're all in different situations, and whereas someone might complain about the internet, someone don't have internet. Someone might complain about not being able to go and have lunch, whereas some people actually don't even have food for lunch.
Exactly.
There's no lunch. So I think it'd be great for everyone that's watching to really just sit down and just write down things that you're grateful for. It could be little things, it could be big things, but gratitude makes you appreciate what you have. and it makes you start to think about things that others don't have. And maybe in that moment, you can now, even when doing the decluttering, say, okay, do I really need this thing? Probably not.
And I was going to say that I think one thing that's important for us to acknowledge in our budgeting, in our decluttering, and in our gratitude is what's the difference between the things that we need and the things that we want.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I'm going to do the same. I mean, I do that with clothes all the time, and I give to the Salvation Army. But it's time to do another one.
Yeah.
I have a lot more time than I would normally have, so I will do that this week. Yeah. But I think this was great, guys. So we all know what our book is for this week.
David and Goliath.
David and Goliath. I just downloaded it on Audible, so I will start listening to that.
Okay.
And of course, if you guys have additional questions, you know where to find us at Ready to Emerge on Instagram, readytoemergenow@gmail.com. Anywhere else? I mean, this live goes on YouTube immediately after we're finished, so you can go back, you can watch it, you can watch the previous lives as well. It's on our YouTube channel. And if you have questions, you can reach out to us directly as well.
Yeah, and we'll be providing, so you can DM us or email us for the budget template.
And people have already started to send us emails
about the budget template.
So thank you for joining us. Thank you for choosing to spend your Wednesday evening with us. We are so grateful, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Hi, I hope you and Naomi don't choke on your whatever you're consuming in your Emerge water.
Why would you say that?
I hope everybody notices that I don't have an Emerge water.
But
we don't have it.
It's okay. I will drink out of my purple cup in the meantime.
So guys, have a safe week. Remember, we have the most precious gift right now, which is time with our loved ones, but also time with ourselves. This is also an opportunity for us to find ways to give back and to serve others. This is an unprecedented time. We'll never see anything like this, and we cannot come out the same way that we went in. So we have to be asking ourselves, what is God doing for me during this time? Keep asking yourself that question. You're surprised how many things He's doing for you this time. So wishing you all the best this week, and join us again next week, Wednesday at 8 o'clock.
Have a wonderful week. Bye.
Bye.